姐妹平安，今日是5月份第2個主日，也是叫做國際母親節的主日。我代表教會每一個老母來祝賀，祝你大家人有一個真正快樂的母親節。因為疫情的原因，這是咱第2年無通在外口來慶祝母親節，但願上帝聽繼續充滿在你的家庭的中間，好聽惜這個機會及這個時間，及你出來的人大家來慶祝上帝給你的恩典。願上帝祝福恁，好咱大家來敬拜咱的上帝。
How deep the Father's love for us, how vast beyond all measure, that He should give His only Son to make a wretch His treasure. How great the pain of hearing loss, the Father turns His face away, as wounds which mark the chosen one bring many sons to glory. Behold the man upon the cross, my sin upon His shoulders. Ashamed I hear my mocking voice call out among the scoffers. It was my sin that held Him there until it was accomplished. His dying breath has brought me alive. I know that it is finished. Yes, it is finished. Oh, it is finished. Oh, I will not boast in anything. No gifts, no power, no wisdom. But I will boast in Jesus Christ, His death and resurrection. Why should I gain from His reward? I cannot give an answer. This I know with all my heart, His wounds have paid my ransom. What should I gain from His reward? I cannot give an answer, but this I know with all my heart, His wounds have paid my ransom. Yes, this 'cause I know with all my heart His wounds have paid my ransom.
兄弟姊妹平安。
Peace, brothers and sisters.
咱繼續思想智慧人生嘅藍圖，這個系列嘅信息。
Let's resume our series, Blueprint for a Life of Wisdom.
今日嚟講傳道書第5章。
Today, let's look at Ecclesiastes chapter 5.
題目是智慧人生嘅觀察，第2個信息，無能。
It's entitled Observations for a Wisdom-Filled Life. The second message, Powerlessness.
頂禮拜咱做傳道書第4章嚟思想人生嘅無奈。
Last week, we talked about Ecclesiastes chapter 4, Helplessness in Life.
咱講到所羅門觀察人生有4款嘅現象。
We said King Solomon observed 4 situations in life.
騙人嘅甲互人騙嘅，競爭嘅甲變道嘅，過度嘅勞碌嘅人甲無關係富強嘅人。
The oppressor and the oppressed, the competitive man and the lazy man, the lonely worker, the powerful but vain man.
這攏是現實社會嘅現象。
These are all social realities.
互人知影人嘅理想甲社會現實有一個距離，
It tells us that there's a gap between human ideals and social reality.
所以咱就係感覺人生真無奈。
So therefore we feel life is but helpless.
傳道書第5節是所羅門繼續對人生嘅觀察。
And in chapter 5, Solomon continues his observations.
唔係就讓知影人生真無奈，人生嗰個是無能。
Not only does he tell us that life is helpless, but it is also powerlessness.
什麼叫做無能呢？
What is powerlessness?
就是無能為力，知影應該按你創，但係個創唔出嚟。
To be powerless, it is to be unable to accomplish what you know you're supposed to do.
這就係人生真悲哀嘅所在。
And this is a place in life which is, we have a lot of sorrow in it.
人生有一個限，有一個無限。
There's a limitation in life.
咱嘅能力、咱嘅智慧、咱嘅才幹、咱嘅時間、咱嘅空間，
Our wisdom, our abilities, our talent and time and space are all limited.
都有一個 limitation。
There's a limitation.
人活在日光之下，
Man who lives under the sun,
若無上帝來引導咱，
if he doesn't have God in his life,
人生真遭無奈，個真遭無能。
life can feel very helpless, very powerlessness.
但是咱若活在日光之上，若有上帝人生呢？
But what if we live under God's plan?
雖然咱還是感覺有一種無能，
Sometimes we do feel it is also still very powerless.
但是咱有當繼續調整 adjust 咱嘅腳步來去面對。
But we can adjust and arrange our steps to meet this need.
我大聲將第5章嘅這個outline、這個 structure 給你知啊。
Let me explain to you the outline of this message today.
第5章1到第7節是嘅 conclusion，
The first 7 verses is the conclusion.
第8到17節是一個現象，
8 to 17 talks about the phenomenons.
第18到20節是一個叫做回應 response。
And 18 to 20 is the response.
我大聲講這個現象，各講回應，落尾都嚟講這個結論。
Let me begin with the phenomena, then the response, then the conclusion.
咱嚟講頭前第字，
Let's look at the first one.
無能為力嘅現象，
The phenomenon of powerlessness.
第8到第17節。
In verses 8 to 17.
所羅門看到有3款嘅現象。
Solomon saw 3 phenomena.
頭一個現象
The first one,
就是貧窮人受欺壓。
the oppression of the poor.
咱嚟看第8節，
Let's look at verse 8.
伊講你若佇一生嘅中間看到貧窮人受欺壓，並奪取公義公平嘅代志，唔通因為感覺真奇怪，因為有一位怪嘅嘅高位嘅監察，伫以前嗰個更加貴嘅。
If you see the poor oppressed in a district, and justice and rights denied, do not be surprised at such things. For one official is eyed by a higher one, and over them both are others higher still.
第9節。
Verse 9.
並且對嘅益處攏歸正人，就是君王啊，也是有天對嘅供應。
The increase from the land is taken by all. The king himself profits from the fields.
第8節互人知影，當一個人有了錢有了權柄以後，
Verse 8 tells us when a man has achieved money and power,
無一定都這個世界有公平及公義。
it doesn't necessarily bring righteousness and justice to the world.
相反，
On the
當
contrary,
一個人有了錢有了權柄以後，
when a person has money and power,
伊會常常做一款真不公義嘅代志，
he tends to do unrighteous things.
伊會脅一款嘅壓一款嘅雙向人，
He will oppress the poor
因為伊拿做家己了不起，
because he will think too highly of himself.
伊袂記有一個較貴嘅人來監察伊。
He forget that there's a superior being over him.
第9節呢，
In verse 9,
互人就一個有權有勢嘅人啊，
it tells us someone who is rich and powerful.
常常叫做自高自大 arrogant，
He tends to be arrogant.
拿做無需要別人攻擊。
He believes that he doesn't need anybody else.
伊袂記得連君王啊，就是當時有絕對權柄、有金錢、有權柄嘅人啊，
He forgot even the king, which is the most wealthiest and powerful person in the world,
永遠需要別人攻擊伊嘅需要。
also needs other people in his life.
那所羅門啊，互人知影什麼款嘅代志呢？
What is Solomon trying to tell us?
伊講當一個人有了錢、有了權柄以後，
He's saying when a person has achieved money and power,
伊應該做真好嘅代志。
he should be able to do more good.
但事實上都相反。
But the opposite usually happens.
伊常常將無好嘅代志、歹嘅代志，
They do bad things.
佢批別人，
They oppress others.
好人感覺實在真無能啊！
They make other people feel powerless.
因為這個人已經有錢有權咯啊，
For this man has all the power and money.
神一定都改變伊咯啊！
Who can defeat him?
你知我看有一篇真正出名嘅文章，
I came across an interesting article.
內容我是真矛盾，但是也是真好笑。
It's a bit ironic, but also quite funny.
但係實際有當反映到現今社會嘅這個情況。
But it does reflect the phenomenon of society.
你即係講呢？
What does it say?
有子嘅順遲啲，無子嘅順遲啲，有子嘅順遲高。
When you don't have money, you feed pigs. When you have money, you feed dogs.
無子嘅順愛結婚，有子嘅順愛離婚。
When you don't have money, you want to get married. When you have money, you want to divorce.
無子嘅順，你嘅老婆兼你嘅秘書；嗱，有子嘅順，你嘅秘書兼咗你嘅老婆。
When you don't have money, your wife is your secretary. When you do have money, your secretary becomes your wife.
無子嘅順，幾啊有子；有子嘅順，幾啊無子。
When you don't have money, you pretend to have money. When you do have money, you pretend that you don't have money.
我唔知你心內有同意有 amen 喎。
I don't know if you agree with me.
人實在真麻煩。
Humans are complicated.
嗱，有了錢有了權柄以後，
When there's power and money,
就隨便嚟咯，臨審嚟咯。
we tend to be very careless.
有了錢有了權柄以後，
When we have money and power,
咱袂曉做用咱嘅錢用咱嘅權柄，
we do not know how to use this power.
這是咱嘅人生真叫做無能嘅所在。
And this is quite powerless.
第二個現象，
Second phenomenon,
所羅門觀察第二現象，佢講有一班叫做貧窮嘅有子人出嚟。
Solomon observed the poor wealthy man.
你講第19、12節，
Let's look at verses 10 to 12.
你講貪愛援助嘅，每因為得到援助地足；貪愛豐富嘅，每因為利益得到地足，只係是有空。因為黑色增加，這個人也是增加。物質得到什麼呢？就會是目睭誇人嘅呀。
Whoever loves money has never enough. Whoever loves wealth is never satisfied with their income. This too is meaningless. As goods increase, so do those who consume them. And what benefit are they to the owner except to feast their eyes on them?
第12節，
Verse 12.
你講勞碌嘅人啊，無論食醉食酒，困下真甘地，但是好足嘅人嘅紅滿，後伊無通休息。
The sleep of the laborer is sweet, whether they eat little or much. But as for the rich, their abundance permits them no sleep.
第10節這個是一個叫做平衡嘅故事。
Verse 10 is a very balanced statement.
貪愛援助就equal to貪愛豐富，
Whoever loves money is equals to whoever loves wealth.
無因為得到援助地足 equal to 無因為利益得到地足。
And never has enough is also similar to is never satisfied with their income.
意思是講啊，當一個人真貪愛豐富金子嘅時陣，
He is saying if a person loves his wealth,
無論這個人已經有攞罪嘅金子，
no matter how much he has,
伊嘅心內總是永遠無得到真正嘅滿足。
his heart will never be satisfied.
問題就係咯，
Where's the problem?
出一個貪這個字，
It comes to the word greed.
貪什麼意思啊？
What is greed?
貪是看到別人有，家己也是愛有，家己有咯，愛國家水，但是講無愛甲別人分享。
Greed is I want to have what I see others have. And I want more of what I have, but I do not want to share it with others.
其實唔係是金子啊，
Not only in money,
無論是物質，無論是名聲，還是你叫做 position， 你嘅地位，你嘅權力，你嘅事業，你嘅愛情，你都唔滿足。
it can be found, you cannot find satisfaction in material things, in fame, status, power, career, or even in love.
比方講，
Let's say,
咱講物質，
let's talk about material
你
things.
有冇得一個真正貴嘅 LV 嘅一個包包？
Let's say you bought a very expensive Louis Vuitton bag.
你買到這個包以後，你會滿足咩？
When you buy this bag, are you satisfied?
你唔會滿足，
No,
因為你愛換買另外一個。
because you want to buy a second one.
你若有第二個呢？
Now after you buying the second
你會
one,
滿足咩？
are you
你
satisfied?
唔會滿足，
No,
因為你愛買第三個。
because you want to buy a third one.
你若有啲第三個呢？
And when you buy the third
你會
one,
滿足咩？
will you be
你
satisfied?
唔會滿足。
No.
你愛買第四個、第五個、第六個，
You want to buy the fourth, fifth, and sixth one.
這就是咱嘅問題。
This is our problem.
愛情也是安尼，
Love is also like this.
有了一個太太，
When you have one wife,
你滿足咩？
are you satisfied?
你唔滿足，
No.
你喺啲度白嚟攞嘅。
You want to have another woman.
你記得咱係聽下對象，那唔是上帝，
We see when the object of our love is not God,
那是其他物件，
if it's other things,
咱係心是永遠會滿足。
our heart will never find contentment.
有一個真正出名嘅神學家講咗一句真正出名嘅話，
A very famous theologian once said,
伊講上帝創造人嘅時，將佇人嘅心內幫留咗一個坑，這個洞啊，這個坑啊，只有上帝當填滿。你將全世界添入落去，這個永遠有淡薄坑位喺裡面。
when God created man, he left a hole in man's heart that only he can fill. Even if you put the whole world in it, there will still be a void.
請問現在你嘅心會滿足咩？
Let me ask you, can your heart be satisfied?
第11、12節，可能就係另外一項代志。
Verses 11 and 12 tells us something else.
當一個人真正有金子、真正好嘢嘅時陣，
When someone has achieved all his wealth,
佢會多嚟一大堆嘅問題。
it will bring a series of problems.
有錢嘅信啊，無錢嘅信，這個問題未來。
When there's no money, these problems will not occur.
嗱，有錢咧，這個問題一個就嚟咯。
But when you have money, these problems will slowly appear.
什麼問題啊？
What are these
有頭
problems?
一個問題，
This is the first problem.
吸引嗰個罪人嚟投靠你。
He said, you will attract more people to come and depend on you.
你講第11節，
Let's look at verse 11.
氣息增加，這個人也是增加。
As goods increase, so do those who consume them.
中國人有一句話，我真好解釋一句話。
There's a very famous Chinese saying that explains this quite well.
你講窮在路邊無言論，富在深山有遠親。
No one greets a poor man by the roadside. Meanwhile, the rich up in the mountains has distant relatives.
當你無錢嘅時陣啊，
When you don't have money,
你屈喺街路邊啊，都冇人插你啊。
no one will bother you even if you sleep on the sidewalk.
你若真有錢啊，
But if you're very wealthy,
你徛喺這個真深真坑嘅深所裡面，有人嚟找你啊。
even if you live in the most remotest of mountains, you will have people looking for you.
所以啊，有錢嘅人啊，朋友得罪，親人得罪。
So if you're rich, you have the most relatives and friends.
但係你記得咯，佢可能唔是為你嚟哦，
But remember, they might not be coming to you for you.
而是為你嘅子嚟哦。
They're coming for your wealth.
所以唔是你嘅朋友哦，而是你嘅子嘅朋友哦。
They're not your friends, they're your money's friends.
好啦，第二，你講等你真罪子都嚟第二嘅問題，就是只係最謙傷啊，無通應啦。
The second problem is you can only look at it but not enjoy it.
你講第12節，
Verse 11.
沒主得到什麼益處呢？不過是目照誇能嘅。
And what benefit are they to the owners except to feast their eyes on them?
你一當一個人哦，擁有少嘅罪物件嘅時陣，
When someone has a lot of material possessions,
真罪物件好目照誇能嘅。
all of these things are only for his eyes to look at.
比如講你見過你嘅沙土，
Let's say you open your closet.
哦，裡面300年嘅沙喺裡面，
Wow, you have 100 of clothes there.
請問你有通穿幾呢？
How many can you wear?
當你看到你有300身嘅圍喺呢個圍套喺裡面，
And if you look inside your shoe closet and there's hundreds of pairs of shoes,
請問你有通穿幾身圍？
how many can you wear?
你去一個第一萬大貴、第一好一個buffet嘅 hotel 喺裡面，
And you go to the most expensive buffet,
裡面有100款嘅食物俾你，
there's hundreds of viands.
請問你有通食幾個食物？
How many can you eat?
哇！你嘅出來真大間有20間房，
You have a very big house. You have 20 rooms.
請問你有通徛幾間房？
How many rooms can you sleep in?
你知影無？
Do you know
所羅門特你食落咗物件？
how much food Solomon ate daily?
你講 First King chapter 4 22-23。
Let's look at 1 Kings 4:22-23.
你講所羅門特你所用嘅食物啊，西面30個耳，粗面60個耳，背骨10隻，炒掉嘅骨20隻。腰100隻，嗰個鹿咯、腰咯，一款真扎肥嘅家禽嘅。
Solomon's daily provisions were 30 cores of the finest flour and 60 cores of meal, 10 head of stall-fed cattle, 20 of pasture-fed cattle, and 100 sheep and goats, as well as deer, gazelles, roebucks, and choice fowl.
這是所羅門特你食嘅物件。
This was his daily provision.
請問你食了未
Can he eat all of it?
？Of course not。
No.
我相信我90%我唔是伊食嘅啊。
I would believe 95 to 98% is not him eating it.
伊看咧，好別人食啦人啊。
He's looking at it only. Other people will eat it.
食物是安尼，物質也是安尼，金子也是安尼。
Food is like that, material possessions is like that, and also money.
咱真早有當享受物件，其實真早少。
We can only enjoy very few things in life.
真侪是會看，但是無通享受。
Many times our eyes only look at them, but we cannot enjoy them.
你講第三，
Third,
當真侪指倒來第三問題是憂慮小家罪，無通好好休息。
too many worries, which makes peaceful sleep difficult.
你講第12節，
Verse 12,
你講後尾一句話，好日嘅人豐富，何以無通休息？
their abundance permits them no sleep.
你講真早辛苦嘅人，無雖然賺唔是真侪錢啦，
They say laborers, they work really hard, but they don't earn a lot of money.
但是有通食，有通啉，
But they can eat and drink.
暗暝有通好好休息，
They can sleep well at night.
因為規日真無為，最近真辛苦咯啊！
Because all day they're toiling and working very
所以
hard.
身軀自然會較閒個，
So their bodies are quite exhausted.
但係相對嚟面呢，
And in comparison,
一個拿有錢嘅人，
those who are very wealthy,
當然你身軀袂點當做嘅做，
of course you don't move as much,
但是你財富拉增加，
but you have more and more wealth.
問題也是相對的確拉增加。
So does your problems will increase.
結果倒來是暗暝無通好好休息，困袂落去，
And when it's nighttime, it's hard for you to fall asleep
因為掛慮嘅代志受過多啦。
because you have too many worries.
所以有人講得真好啦，
Some people say it well.
你講無錢嘅人只有一個問題，
People without money have one problem:
大佬找錢，
where to find money.
但是有錢嘅人佢真侪問題。
But those who have a lot of money have a lot of problems.
哎呀，這個就貧窮嘅有錢人，
This is called a poor, wealthy person.
只是有啦，
They have money,
但是無通解決嘅問題是拉最。
but their problems are becoming more difficult to solve.
好啦，第三現象，
The third phenomenon,
所羅門觀察，咱有人為你第三現象是金子會多來真濟禍患。
wealth brings woes.
你講第13到17節。
Let's look at verses 13 to 17.
13節，我看到列光之下有一個真大禍患，就是財主積存資財，反害了家己。因為拄到患難，這個資財就消失了。這個人若有驚，手內也是一無所有。
I have seen a grievous evil under the sun, wealth hoarded to the harm of its owners, or wealth lost through some misfortune, so that when they have children, there's nothing left for them to inherit.
第19節。
15.
伊只有對老母伯多赤身而來，上官赤身而去。伊勞碌所得來物件，手中分好無通奪去。伊來嘅情況之後，伊離開嘅情況還是上款，這是重大禍患。因為放勞碌有什麼益處呢？
Everybody comes naked from their mother's womb, and everyone comes, so they depart. They take nothing from their toil that they can carry in their hands. This too is a grievous evil, as everyone comes, so they depart. And what do they gain, since they toil for the wind?
17節。
Verse 17.
並且伊規世人佇黑暗嘅中間嚟責念，真濟煩惱，真濟破滅，真濟受氣。
All their days they eat in darkness, with great frustration, affliction, and anger.
嗱，這5節聖經互人知影，金子唔是咱嘅人生嘅保障。
These 5 verses tell us that money is not a guarantee.
另外，金子佫互人查出咱真濟人生嘅患難。
And on the contrary, money brings misfortune.
其實中國人講出嚟講，呢個金子啊，袂做互人看到。
The Chinese would say, do not show your wealth.
佢裏邊常常發生真濟叫做 kidnapping 嘅代志 ，kidnap 嘅代志。
There's a lot of kidnappings that occur in the Philippines.
為什麼呢？
Why?
就因為金子哦，基本就講嚟派人嚟啦。
Because the money attracts these evil people.
所以第10個、16節互人知影這樣代志。
Verses 15 and 16 tell us,
無論你現在攞有金子喺你嘅手嘅中間，
no matter how much wealth you have,
對不住，老尾也是難免一擺嘅死。
you will still die.
嗱，死嘅順是空空來，佫空空倒去。
Naked we come, naked we go.
一坤子未做多離開這個世界。
You cannot even take a penny with you.
其實聖經裡面哦，除了所羅門，有兩個人講上串嘅話，
Aside from Solomon, 2 other people said the same thing.
一個是喺新約，一個是喺舊約。
One in the Old and another one in the New Testament.
舊約是約伯，新約是保羅。
The Old is Job and the New is Paul.
幾千里都冇改變。
thousands of years, this has not changed.
你個約伯就講。
Let's see what Job says.
我赤身出地，母胎也得個赤身歸回。小樹是耶和華，托起嘅也是耶和華。
Naked I came from my mother's womb, and naked I will depart. The Lord gave, and the Lord has taken away. May the name of the Lord be praised.
這是約伯講嘅話。
Job said this.
你看新約提摩太前書第6章第7節。
Let's look at 1 Timothy 6:7.
保羅講，因為咱未多什麼嚟到這個世界，也未通多什麼離開這個世界。
Paul says, For we brought nothing into the world, and we can take nothing out of it.
空空來，空空倒去。
Naked we come, naked we go.
所羅門咧提出咱一樣重要嘅代志。
Solomon reminds us something important.
金子唔是萬能嘅。
Money is not omnipotent.
雖然我聽到有人講，金子唔是萬能，但冇金子是萬萬不能。
Yeah, some people might say that money is not all-powerful, but we cannot survive without money.
講一句話，唔是講無理由啦。
Yes, this is quite reasonable,
但是我問你另外一個問題：
but let me ask you,
什麼叫做有子？什麼叫做無子？
what does it mean to have money and not have money?
其實有子跟無子只不過是個比較啊。
For having money and having no money is but a comparison.
你若甲佢裏邊第有子嘅幾個中國人比較，
Compare yourselves with the richest person in the Philippines.
檢猜你是無子；
Perhaps you look like a poor person.
你若甲我比較，檢猜你是有子。
If you compare with me, probably you're a very rich person.
但是我若甲我嘅教會裏面嘅車頭比較，檢猜我比佢較有子。
But if I compare myself to the drivers here in the church, I may look like a very rich person.
所以這個係個 comparison，一個比較嘅呀。
So this is but a comparison.
所羅門第一條是愛提醒咱一個真重要嘅代志。
Solomon wants to remind us something important.
人生有真多時陣叫做無能為力嘅時陣。
There are many situations in life when we feel powerless.
無論你手裏有攞罪金子、攞罪物件，
Even though you have a lot of money in your hands,
令人感覺真正叫做無能為力 （powerlessness）。
you will just feel powerless.
那麼這個回應這樣代志呢？
How shall we respond?
第9章18到20節，
We can find this in chapter 5, 18 to 20.
無能為力現象嘅回應。
Response to the phenomenon of powerlessness.
第9章18到20節，
Chapter 5, 18 to 20.
面對人生充滿了無能為力嘅情況嘅裏面，
How do we respond to the phenomenon of powerlessness in life?
所羅門可能提供了兩個辦法去回應。
King Solomon offers two ways to respond to this.
頭一個，咱有當享受對勞碌中間得來嘅份。
The first, we can enjoy the rewards earned from our hard work.
你看第18節，
So at verse 18.
我所看到為善為水嘅，就是人在上帝所以生嘅日子中間責任，享受日光之後勞碌得來好處，因為這是伊嘅份。
This is what I have observed to be good, that it is appropriate for a person to eat and to drink and to find satisfaction in their toilsome labor under the sun during the few days of life God has given them, for this is their lot.
上帝從來冇反對人工作，
But the Bible has never opposed to man's work.
工作也唔是上帝對人嘅照做，
Work is not a curse that God gave,
因為人未犯罪以前，
because before man sinned,
上帝已經將工作交予人，
God already assigned work to man.
而叫亞當看守修理這個伊甸園，
He told Adam to manage the Garden of Eden.
這是亞當嘅工作。
This was Adam's work.
所以咱有當享受對勞碌工作得來嘅成果。
So we can enjoy the rewards of our labor.
保羅及教會也是安尼講，
Paul also said the same thing to the church.
佢講工人得到工價是應該嘅。
He said the worker deserves his wages.
第一重要是咱心內要有一個叫做知足，
But most importantly, we must have contentment.
享受你手裏面所有嘅物件，
Enjoy what you have.
唔當享受你手裏面冇嘅物件。
Do not try to enjoy what you do not have.
所以保羅講，喺任何嘅情況裏面，我都滿足。
So Paul said, I have learned the secret of being content.
無論是有存或是有欠，我都夠日，我都 OK。
Whether in plenty or in need, I am okay.
因為上帝冇咱對佢一間富庶嘅榮耀、富庶嘅生活。
Because God's will is not for us to pursue a false sense of grandeur.
咱手內有攞住物件，咱就過什麼樣嘅生活？
We must live with what we have.
親 千萬唔通嘅人關叫做 extreme 極端嘅生活。
Do not live in either of these extremes.
什麼叫做 extreme 嘅生活呢？
What is an extreme way to live?
頭一關是叫做無止雙向人嘅生活。
The first one is one kind is a destitute, wealthy man.
另外一關是無止人嘅生活。
And another kind is the affluent, penniless man.
好啦，什麼是無止雙向人嘅生活呢？
Now, what is a destitute, wealthy man?
無止，但是非常嘅有貴，
He is very rich, but he's very stingy.
一分錢都冇俾出，
He does not want to spend a penny.
但係大志個人斤計較，
Everything he's very calculating.
換行只是拿最。
The money in his bank account keeps on growing.
但是呢生命及呢生活嘅素質是拿嘅。
But the quality of his life is always deteriorating.
這是可憐嘅無止人。
This is a miserable, wealthy
好
person.
啦，什麼是無止嘅無止人嘅生活呢？
Now, what is an affluent, penniless person?
呢根本冇乜嘅能力享受呢款嘅生活。
He doesn't have the financial capacity,
食佢愛食地好嘅，
but he still wants to eat the best foods.
穿愛穿地好嘅，
He still wants to wear the best clothes.
用愛用地好嘅。
He wants to use the best things.
當然就是用 credit card 咯，
So he will just use his credit card.
老尾就是欠門口嘅紙咯，
And later on, he would have debt to the bank.
老尾就結著紙咯，
And he would have to borrow more.
這是可憐嘅雙向人。
This is a miserable, penniless man.
求主保守人，
May God help us.
唔但記這兩關 extreme 嘅生活，
May we not live in either of these extremes.
好享受勞碌得來嘅混在罪嚟啦。
Just enjoy the reward from our work.
好啦，第二
The second,
回應是，你有當享受上帝對來嘅恩賜。
the second response is we can enjoy God's gift to us.
呢個第19節。
Let's look at verse
伊
19.
講上帝何人自在豐富，何以得以隻應，能取家嘅份，勞碌中間喜樂，乃是上帝恩賜，以每得嘅少年家嘅一生嘅歷練，因為上帝應許嘅心何以喜樂。
Moreover, when God gives someone wealth and possessions and the ability to enjoy them, to accept their lot and be happy in their toil, this is a gift of God. They seldom reflect on the days of their life because God keeps them preoccupied with the gladness of heart.
享受對勞碌的來份，及享受對上帝嘅恩典恩賜有什麼無相呢？
What is the difference between enjoying the rewards of our work and the blessings and gifts from God?
這就是恩典及工價及恩典嘅無相。
This is the difference between wages and gifts.
工價是你勞碌付出得來嘅果效。
The wages is what you get after a long day of work,
但是恩典恩賜是白白賜予你，
but gifts are freely given to you.
這個屬上帝嘅人，兩方面都需要注意。
A man of God must pay attention to both.
咱唔追變大人，
Do not be lazy.
咱需要骨力去追工。
You have to work hard.
聖經甚至講無追工唔通食，
The Bible says the one who does not work should not eat.
但另外一方面呢，
But on the other hand,
咱就學習享受對上帝來嘅恩典。
we must also learn how to enjoy the gifts from God.
我記得有一日教會有一個兄弟佢們創一個手術一個 operation，
I remember one time one of our brothers here at church needed an operation.
伊是真熱心地教會侍奉主嘅人。
He zealously served God,
但是我知影伊家庭嘅經濟有可能有淡薄困難，
but I know he had some financial difficulties.
所以我叫教會去幫助你。
So I told the church to help him.
開始伊無要接受，
At the beginning, he would not accept.
伊講歹勢。
He said, it's embarrassing.
我甲伊講，
I told him,
這是上帝嘅恩典，
this is God's gift.
你幫神去接受，
Freely accept.
將來可能上帝會接到你去幫助另外需要幫助嘅人。
In the future, God will use you to bless others.
教會
Church.
耶穌叫門徒出去傳道嘅時陣，
When Jesus sent his disciples to preach,
伊甲門徒講咗一句真重嘅話，
he told them something
伊
important.
講你白白得來，白白出去，
He said, freely receive and freely you will give.
請你記得。
Do you remember?
只有白白領受上帝恩典嘅人，即係更加慷慨，將上帝恩典真白白輸出去。
Only those who have freely received the grace of God can freely give the grace away.
這是我哋裏邊33年嘅經驗。
And this is my experience in 33 years here in the Philippines.
上帝有我嘅恩典真多，
God has given me a lot of blessings.
我係知道上帝嘅恩典去幫助我被投訴我幫助嘅人。
And I also have helped a lot of people.
我係這樣代志，
And I learned
我有別人較多，上帝也是互我較多。
The more I give to other people, God gives me even more.
我只講一個見證，
Let me just share a testimony.
我頭一擺甲牧師去Holy Land，
The first time me and my wife went to the Holy Land,
每個人需要美金是4500塊，
the cost was $4,500 per person.
所以我兩個人需要9000塊美金。
So we needed $9,000.
但是
However,
我兩個人一角本都無出，
I did not pay a single peso
因為我兩個人根本無去報名。
because I didn't even sign up in the first place.
但是忽然間有一個電話卡嚟，
But suddenly, I got a phone call.
你講牧師啊，有人及呢個牧師了行了囊中嘅字咯，
He said, Pastor, someone has already paid for you.
所以你兩個人即係去Holy Land免治 free。
So go and take the trip to the Holy Land for
所以
free.
我兩個人頭一擺去Holy Land是全是上帝恩典 ，all is grace。
So the first time I went to the Holy Land was free. It was all the grace of God.
但我一擺我都入去Egypt嗰個埃及嘅裏面，
And one day we were in Egypt.
暗暝偷暗就去爬山，爬去叫做孟西奈。
In the early morning, we had to climb up to Mount Sinai.
嗰陣發現我就需要借駱駝去山頂，
Turns out you have to ride a camel.
但是每一個人我需要另外把那40塊美金。
And every person had to pay an additional $40.
忽然間發現我邊頭有一對菲律賓嘅牧師佬，伊無要去。
And beside me, there was a fellow Filipino pastor and his wife who did not want to go.
我感覺真奇怪，
I found it quite surprising.
都嚟咯，到Egypt無要去孟西奈。
You're here in Egypt. Why not go up to Mount Sinai?
我想可能是因為錢嘅問題啦，
I wondered if it was a financial issue.
所以我及這個負責嘅兄弟講，
So I told this organizer,
我講我及伊兩個人出，你介意講有人及伊出咯，叫伊去。
said I will pay for both of them and just tell them that someone has already paid for
結
them.
果伊兩個人實在去。
And they both went.
為什麼我要好伊？
Why did I do that?
答案咁咪真簡單
Isn't the answer quite simple?
，freely receive, freely give，
I freely received, therefore I freely gave.
叫上帝施恩好你，
May the Lord bless you.
又好你就做別人知道上帝恩典嘅叫做 channel of blessing。
So you may be a channel of blessing for other people.
好啦，第三，
The third,
咱乜都嚟看這個叫做 conclusion，這個結論。
let's look at the conclusion.
咱講這個無能為力現象嘅結論。
Let's look at the conclusion on the phenomenon of powerlessness.
第5章1到第7節，
You can find this in the first 7 verses.
我無真詳細嚟解釋這7節嘅聖經，
I will not explain these 7 verses in detail.
我只將這個7節聖經嘅重點互你知啊。
I only share the key points to you.
所羅門觀察這個人生，
Solomon saw these
也
observations.
在無能為力嘅大事發生。
That there's a lot of situations where you are powerless.
唔是你愛做什麼就的確有通做什麼。
We cannot do the things and the things that we want that doesn't usually turn out the way we want them to.
但是咱屬上帝嘅人啊，
But we who belong to God,
咱就叫做 adjust 調節你家嘅腳步嚟，咱嘅腳步去面對。
we must adjust our steps to face them.
第5章1到第7節，
In the first 7 verses,
教導咱兩樣真重要嘅代志。
it tells us 2 things.
第一，
The first,
咱嘅上帝嘅頭前需要真正水利咱嘅腳步，
guard our steps before the Lord.
腳步就代表你嘅行動。
Our steps refers to our actions.
意思講，咱哋上帝嘅頭前，咱做每一項代志都真水利，
We must be very careful with everything that we do before God.
唔可以做隨便。
Do not be careless.
你講第5章第1節，
Let's look at verse 1.
你到上帝聖殿嘅頭前就警醒腳步，因為近前來也嘅戇人獻祭，伊根本唔知影該創嘅代志是歹嘅。
Guard your steps when you go to the house of God. Go near to listen rather than to offer the sacrifice of fools who do not know what they do wrong.
就請你記得 guard your step，水利你所行嘅路。好啦，第二。
The second,
咱哋上帝頭前唔那是水利咱嘅腳步，就水利咱嘅言語。
guard our speech before the Lord.
你講第5章第2節及第5節。
Let's look at chapter 5, verses 2 and 5.
如果你哋上帝嘅頭前唔當臨心開嘴，又唔當心急發言，因為上帝嘅指定，你哋下下，所以你嘅言語就減少。你起完又無要行，不如無要起。
Do not be quick with your mouth, and do not be hasty in your heart to utter anything before God. God is in heaven, and you are on earth, so let your words be few. It is better not to make a vow than to make one and not fulfill it.
咱唔當隨便地上帝頭前開嘴，
You should not speak carelessly.
明顯即特別講到起願嘅代志。
especially when it comes to vows.
你若起了願，就無要顯上帝要生氣你。
If you make a vow and don't fulfill it, God will be angry.
你將這兩樣代志合起來，
Let's combine these two things.
其實只講一項代志，
They tell us one thing:
就是敬畏上帝。
fear God.
咱在這個無能為力嘅世代中間，敬畏上帝。
In this life where there's full of powerlessness, we must learn how to fear God.
你看5章第7節，
Let's look at verses 7.
你只必敬畏神。
Therefore, fear God.
面對這個人生真無能，
To face the powerlessness of life.
用一個敬畏上帝嘅態度去面對。
To have an attitude of fear before the Lord.
因為敬畏耶和華是智慧嘅開始。
Because the fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom.
你看箴言第9章第10節，
Let's look at Proverbs 9:10.
敬畏耶和華是智慧嘅開始，連不知聖者就是聰明。
The fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom, and the knowledge of the Holy One is understanding.
其實這是傳道書嘅 conclusion。
This is actually the conclusion of the book of Ecclesiastes.
傳道書12章13節，
Chapter 12, verse 13.
這個代志你已經聽到了，總義就是敬畏上帝，謹守嘅誡命，這是人應該盡嘅本分。
Now all has been heard. Here is the conclusion of the matter. Fear God and keep His commandments, for this is the duty of all mankind.
敬畏上帝是咱嘅責任，咱嘅本分。
Fearing the Lord is a duty of man.
我們講一個猶太人一個真出名嘅神學家，做一個 conclusion。
Let me conclude with the words of a famous rabbi theologian.
這個是 Abraham Heschel，
His name is Abraham Heschel.
佢講咗一句話。
He said this:
你講真正嘅智慧是參透喺上帝智慧裡面，對咱嚟講，智慧就是有能力對上帝角度嚟看所創嘅代志。
True wisdom is participation in the wisdom of God. To us, wisdom is the ability to look at all things from the point of view of God.
這個世界有真濟互咱感覺無能為力嘅代志，
There's a lot of things in this life that will make us feel powerless.
咱需要調節咱嘅腳步，
We must adjust our steps.
用上帝角度、用上帝眼光嚟看咱嘅人生，
Look at life from the point of view of God.
這是真正智慧嘅人生。
This is true wisdom.
叫上帝祝福你，
May God bless you.
咱嚟祈禱。
Let's pray.
感謝上帝，互阮繼續思想傳道書，阮今日咧看到世界遐多代志，唔是咱愛創什麼就有通創什麼，唔是咱愛有什麼物件就的確有什麼物件。以凡到咱有物件啊，無拄拄達真正好嘅結果會出嚟，因為人生常常感覺真無奈、國無能。但係感謝上帝。阮屬主嘅人，阮有當調整咱嘅腳步，用上帝眼光來看咱嘅人生。求主幫助阮，互阮佇這個，互阮真濟感覺無能為力嘅時代，好來靠到上帝來見證你家己榮耀你嘅信實，互阮靠到主嘅恩典，過一個智慧嘅人生。感謝上帝，聽阮眾人嘅祈禱，奉告主耶穌基督嘅聖名。Amen， Amen。你這個禮拜，咱來看傳道書第6章，這是所羅門第3款對人生嘅觀察。禮拜來看，伊觀察到什麼代志？See you next Sunday. God bless you.